Generally, I don't like definitions. In definitions, you always omit or forget something really, really important. There's always aspects that are left outside. Nonetheless, we have to set a framework into which we can understand the concept of exclusion. So we can start by saying that exclusion is a multidimensional issue. It has a moral, ideological, social, and institutional/legal dimension. Exclusion basically starts from a moral perception that understands the different other as someone that should not be recognized by a community, by any community that understands itself as such. This other can be an individual or can be a group. Moreover, exclusion is an ideological principle that is internalized in the values and belief systems of people, and it's performed through their judgments and actions. Exclusion threatens mainly those who can be considered as vulnerable. It basically threatens the vulnerable other. This vulnerable other is someone who usually, not always, but in most cases, is one who is first of all, different, and B, is an inferior power position towards the dominant community. Exclusion is historically determined in the sense that it takes different forms in different societies and in different historical periods. For example, you have the ancient Greek community, the polis, from which the woman and the slave is excluded. For example, you have the medieval community into which the disabled or the mentally ill or the leper is excluded. Nowadays, we live into a far more complex society, so the picture of the vulnerable other has changed as well. It is more subtle, but nonetheless even more ubiquitous. We can say that we have reached a level of moral maturity where we do not hide the vulnerable other anymore, simply, possibly because we cannot do that. It's everywhere. Our societies has changed. They're multicultural and in a sense multi-ethnic. Therefore, the vulnerable other has changed. Now, the exclusion occurs through gender, through ethnic origin, through sexual orientation, etc., etc., etc. Now, one thing we should also understand is that exclusion does not happen at some points of society. It happens everywhere. It occurs everywhere. At the macro level, which is the society in general. For example, we have cases of legalized exclusion. One can think only of the apartheid or the racial segregation laws that existed in the USA until the 60s. Also, we have at the meso level, for example, we can have a school, to come to our context, that uses exclusionary practices, or in the micro level, which is the classroom, where the person who's excluding can be the teacher or the children themselves. In this sense, and to go back to the ideological aspect that we said, one can speak of an exclusive mentality.